All right, welcome back to Fleck of Socks, a podcast, episode 238. Today on the show, the DOGE team is fighting on, now calling for audits of the SEC and Fort Knox. I'll tell you where I think the gold is at. Then, in Cringe of the Week, a high school teacher freaks out over Trump in true psycho fashion. We'll show you what was said there. Then, a Canadian tough guy stands up to Trump. We'll tell you the things he probably should have stood up for before that. And last but not least, in Urban Decay, we have fake claims of anti-Semitism caught on camera. We'll show you the self-victimizing behavior. All this and more is Fleck of Socks, a podcast, episode 238, ranked the best news podcast of all time.
Because words are just words until action actually starts. And actions speak louder than words. But at the same time, words speak louder than actions because sometimes it's the right thing to do. Very cool. Very cool.
It's Fleck of Socks, the podcast featuring Richard Grab.
All right, 1 for 1 on the intro as always. Guys, how do you sleep at night? Real peace of mind comes from knowing your family is prepared for anything. My Patriot Supply, America's most trusted name in emergency preparedness, is offering a limited time discount on their very popular 3-month emergency food kit. This isn't your typical survival food. Each kit provides over 2,000 calories and 100% of the recommended value of 12 essential vitamins and minerals daily for 90 days, with delicious meals and extras including chicken, beef, fruits, and veggies. We're talking quality meals that last up to 25 years in storage and still taste like home cooked. The pandemic taught us how quick store shelves can empty. Don't wait for the next crisis to prepare. Your 3-month emergency food kit includes free shipping, a disaster replacement warranty, and 24/7 USA-based support. This special discount is available for a limited time only. Go to preparewithfleckus.com right now. That's preparewithfleckus.com right now to secure your family's future and get this $100 discount off of their 3-month emergency food kits. And if you order by 3 p.m., your order will ship in the same day so you can have peace of mind right away. Preparewithfleckus.com is the website. $100 off of your 3-month emergency food kit is the offer. Go there now. It's linked in the description. Thank you to My Patriot Supply for sponsoring. Let's get into housekeeping. All right, thank you to My Patriot Supply for sponsoring.
All right, thank you, My Patriot Supply.
It's a very good time to go to preparewithfleckus.com.
There you go.
Absolutely. All right, we have a packed show.
Okay.
Very packed show, urban housekeeping, cringe, uplifting. You know how it goes.
You don't have to list them. I was saying to Fleckus before the show even started, the tone, I'm in a good mood, and the tone of the show is we're getting what we want.
Yeah, there's a lot of wins lately.
It feels good.
Feels good. And, you know, for months, we didn't know what was going to happen in that election. I think if Kamala had won, there's another timeline where me and you are getting sanctuary in Russia.
Ooh, okay.
You know, Who knows?
I would not be joining you. I'd rather work at a lumber mill or something like that, you know, just do my time. Here.
Yeah, that's a good
Not
point.
moving to Russia.
Not moving to Russia for a while. Okay, let's get right into it. We're going to start off the show with something light. Someone sent me a screenshot of Tim Pool's show, and then ours is like the next up. And can you read Tim Pool's tagline?
Well, it's a sponsored YouTube advertisement and says, the best news show on YouTube.
That doesn't sound right to me. Best news podcast of all time.
That sounds true. That rings true.
That's
us.
Yeah, and that has a great ring to it. Best news show on YouTube. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased.
Back to the drawing board, Tim.
I think there's a tagline that works, and there's one that's just something you typed in.
Okay, fair.
Let's just leave it at that. We don't need to compare, but one of them does ring a little better than the other.
Okay.
Let's get right into the DOGE
Have you ever
stuff.
been on Timcast?
No, I got invited a few times.
But you don't want to make the trip out there?
I can't go far away and just do a show for nothing.
For sure. I get that.
You know me, dog. But maybe one day. I've been invited. Who knows? Okay, let's get right into our DOGE stuff. A lot of IRS talk today. A lot of SEC stuff. There's going to be a whole list of DOGE stuff, but we're going to start with the IRS. Could you give that tweet a read?
Yeah, DOGE's tentacles are growing. They're reaching out everywhere. They got the Zoomers. The DOGE team is like a Zoomer, a lawyer, and an HR person, and they all just deploy. It's kind of wild, but the IRS, they're obviously tapping into. Tweet from Elon Musk, according to the Social Security database, these are the numbers of people in each age bucket with the death field set to false, meaning they're alive. Maybe Twilight is real and there are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. 4 million people, age 100 to 109, 3 million, 110 to 119, another 3.4 million, 120 to 129. Let's see, 121,000 people between the age of 160 and 169.
That's old.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the big numbers added up, 394,943,364 when the population of the U.S. is only 334 million.
Yeah, so there's a lot of extra Social Security numbers floating around with incredibly high ages.
A lot of illegals that probably use that too, so that can kind of
000000000. The illegals, they just hit that number.
Which makes me wonder, tax season is coming up, and I saw this tweet and it says the accountant says you owe blah 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 in taxes. Let's file an extension instead and see if the IRS sticks around. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that would be you. You're typically late.
Because I filed the extension anyway.
I know. You're playing games.
So now there's a chance that there's no IRS. And I've said this before on the show. There are so many examples of fraud, and it's so heart-wrenching for normal working Americans to know their tax dollars and half the time they spend to pay taxes is just going to nothing crap. Yeah. That we need some sort of uplifting gold from Trump of, hey, we exposed all of the fraud. We saved this many trillions of dollars, and because of that, no taxes this year.
Yeah, and then at a bare minimum, we need to institute a policy once every 10 years, you just get to skip taxes.
Yeah, like a coffee cup stamp thing at the coffee place.
Exactly. But back to the IRS age numbers, a lot of the leftists on Twitter are like, no, that doesn't mean fraud's happening. And it's okay, then we have a sloppy database for no reason. Are they not collecting enough money to clean that up?
Imagine standing up for the IRS.
It's so bad, yeah. And that's part of it what the leftists are doing on Twitter now, because the resist movement, you end up fighting alongside retarded people.
And yeah, we're standing up for the IRS.
Yeah, and the FBI who was arresting grandmas. Okay, great.
Oh, yeah. And then we saw a headline on Fox News, on Fox Business. It said, Senator Wyden says Musk's henchmen are at the IRS.
Yeah.
So they're using our words now.
Yeah. Okay. Henchman is pretty common, but I get it.
But we brought it back.
Yeah.
We made it more common lately, and now that it's more common, people are using it. Inso facto, they got it from us.
What was that? Inso facto? Do you not know it?
Let's get to our next part of the IRS exposure. Can you read that tweet about the welfare?
Did you know that the IRS is one of the largest providers of welfare in the USA? The IRS relies on U.S. residents, not just citizens, self-certifying their qualification for these IRS welfare programs that are effectively a negative income tax. And you can see in the chart here, the light green base of the bar is refundable credits, which basically is welfare, because a low-income family of two, a husband and wife filing together, they actually get money back despite not even paying taxes. So the IRS cuts them a check as an incentive, which, I don't want to go too negative on, because I'd rather have people working than on EBT, but it is a de facto welfare system, right?
Yeah.
And you can see it's increased 2020 and 2021.
I think they said 30% increase under Biden.
Yeah.
Insane. Mm-hmm. So he's just giving it out. And another thing we've talked about on the show that actually is coming to fruition, Rat Boy used to say that if you get food stamps, you shouldn't be allowed to buy crap.
Yeah.
And that could be a reality. Americans on food stamps could be banned from buying bad food and sugary drinks, Trump USDA chief says.
Yeah. And so
I like that.
I know. And then this woman, her name is Brooke Rollins. She's the agriculture secretary. She's on the Make America Healthy board, which I think is 13 people. RFK obviously is the kind of leader of that. But of course, this is what I mean by we're getting what we wanted. Mm-hmm. I said, RFK, please take away their candy and soda. It's not good. And then, someone who's on EBT, who's overweight, and then they're going to have medical problems down the road. And we know they don't have income. So we pay for it both ways. We pay for it in and we pay for it out.
That's a good point, because when you eat such bad food and poison for so long, you end up needing health care, and then you don't have enough money for food. You're not going to have enough money for health care. And then also another level to it, if you're a family and you're feeding your kid chips and sugar and soda and candy and the cereal that's all poison and food dyes, your kid is not going to reach their full potential, and then they're probably going to be more likely to need government assistance in the future. So it's like a deep, deep cycle.
Yeah, if you want to be a fat fuck, you got to be a fat fuck on your own dime. You got to be able to afford it.
You got to be able to afford that kind of lifestyle.
And then what we said about the IRS increasing their welfare, here's a quote from this woman. She said, "Truly, this program has grown so large, especially in the last administration. Under Biden, I think the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program grew almost 30% more than before. We really need to look at where that money is going and what it's being spent on."
That's a good point.
So a 30% increase in an administration would mean like you have to make the rules looser or do something. And again, like we're discovering with all the NGOs and the nonprofits getting taxpayer money, the Democrats really like to balloon government spending and give it to their patronage network, right? Give it to the people. Like, hey, remember we increased your SNAP this week or this month. Who are you going to vote for come November? You know, a lot of these soft influences that they have.
And then you get people like stuck and committed. If they're getting $1,000 a month and it used to be 500, now they're like, oh, I need that 1,000 a month, and you get them committed to the Democrat Party.
Why would I vote for change?
Yeah, why would you vote for change? Why would you vote for the wrecking ball to come in and audit everything? You're stuck, and you're kind of, it's like a slave almost.
Yeah, and I posted something about this. I posted the meme, the "Please Donald Trump come save me" guy. Mm-hmm. I said, "Please RFK take away their candy and soda," and then a leftist replied to that and said, "You think this is going to bring costs down?" And it's like, that's not what it's about.
That's not what
I don't think it's going to make eggs any cheaper. I just want our government to not incentivize horrible behavior and then perpetual horrible behavior.
Yeah.
You know, if you're getting a birthday cake and ice cream and milkshakes on EBT, why are you going to improve? Why are you ever going to find work or get a job? You're getting all your needs met. Section 8 housing, all the candy and sweets I like. You're in the, what do we call it? Aluminum rose gold plated handcuffs.
The rose gold plated handcuffs. Yeah. And I have a little bit of a thing, an idea or a theory that could solve this. What if we give everyone no EBT, and then if you don't have enough money for food, you go to a soup kitchen, you eat soup?
I mean, that's reasonable too. And I don't want to hate on this, because if the father of a family loses their job and you need it for 3 months, the point is, they're all good programs that started with a good heart and like America is rich enough to help people, but they became bastardized, democratic, bloated wastes, you know? And so again, it's this perversion of a good thing turned into a patronage network leg.
That's like what they do with abortion too.
Of course.
You know? It's like, oh, you want someone who's the victim of incest and rape to not get an abortion. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's not what's going on. It's the same thing here. Like, oh, you don't want to help this single dad, family of 5. You want to get rid of all the EBT stuff. And it's like, that's not what most of this is.
We do, but maybe no birthday cakes for that stretch. You know, if he can't put together $25 on the side, then I don't think the government or the taxpayers should be paying for that. Right.
And then I found a clip from this Instagram account called Philly Offensive. And it's a guy calling out people who are using EBT. You'll see.
Yo, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed you bought your groceries with a welfare card, but then you use cash to buy lottery tickets.
What? What the fuck is he saying?
I noticed you use the access card to buy your groceries, and then you bought scratch-off tickets with cash. You think that's right?
What? So what?
What the fuck's your problem?
Yep. And we can fast forward to the confrontation when he gets out of the car. Watch who he's dealing with.
Because I work for a living and I pay taxes.
Go fuck yourself.
Wow, pregnant, smoking, and pajama pants? You're like a fucking triple fuck up. Yeah, all right. You know what?
What the fuck?
Steak is for fucking taxpayers.
No.
So I don't know when that's from. It might be old, but it was on Philly Offensive. Triple fuck up, pregnant, smoking, and pajama pants.
Yeah, race has nothing to do with it. That's some street rat white types, and they go, so what? It's like, so what? We're funding you. Right?
There's that one slumped over guy who didn't really talk the whole time. Let's move on out of our IRS and food stamps into our DC stories. Unemployment is spiking in DC. Surged 36% in 1 week, 3 times the 2024 average.
Yeah.
So in 1 week, there's a 36% increase. And then over 6 weeks, unemployment jumped, and it says here, up 55% above the 2008 levels, which was obviously the crash.
So there is a bit of a micro or an economic downturn happening to the affluent NGO nonprofit DC elite class who used to siphon off taxpayer money, which is a good thing. Those people are going to have to transition out, learn to code, get some sort of different job, compete in the open market. You can't just get subsidized by the U.S. taxpayer anymore.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Oh, you lost your job? Oh, maybe some illegal immigrant should come here and do it for pennies on the dollar.
What?
Yeah, I know.
No, what? What does that have to do with it?
I'm just merging things that maybe
Okay.
didn't need to be merged.
All right. The best news podcast of all time.
And then another problem in DC, the housing market is kind of crashing. There's been a $139,000 average drop in home prices over the last 30 days, I believe.
The median home price has fallen $139,000. If you look at Zillow or any sort of home buying website, the new homes listed for sale is exploding in DC. And here's an image. Everything's like new, just listed. They have a marker next to it.
4,000 new homes listed in the last 30 days. That's a lot.
Yeah, and then obviously we've known this for a long time too. The top 7 wealthiest counties in America, 4 of them are suburbs of Washington, D.C. That's Loudoun County, Falls Church, Fairfax County, and Arlington County, right? And so that's one of those things. And then who are some of the other ones? San Mateo County. That's like, Apple. And they invented this whole new thing. Tech just sprung out of that. Engineers. Marin County, California. Douglas County, Colorado, right? So that should have never happened. And it got out of whack, right? They got fat on the U.S. taxpayer. They got used to being fat on the U.S. taxpayer. And then imagine you're like a plumber or a accountant, some sort of multi-generational person who's living in Washington, D.C., and then houses are so expensive you can't even afford one because somebody had their finger on the scale the entire time, creating an unrealistic version of the world where, there's just tons of money flowing into all these surrounding counties, right? And this is what we want to see on the broad scale for illegal immigration, H-1B, regular immigration. These people have their finger on the scale importing millions of people into America, and it's like, gee, why can't I afford a house? It's like maybe someone has their finger on the scale and they're heavily skewing it towards not your benefit, right?
Yeah, and if what happened in D.C. happens and it can be extrapolated across the whole country, then we get back to like normal living like we had in the 2000s and the 90s.
Yeah, there's a return to normal where these like external factors aren't just applying huge pressure to a normal functioning society, right?
Yeah.
Go compete in the private sector, right? Create a business, start selling hamburgers,
Food truck.
We're still the land of opportunity. That opportunity window, being a public servant, just needs to close, right?
Exactly. And then the rats are still scattering because of DOGE. Washington, D.C. searches soar for Swiss bank, offshore bank, wire money, and IBAN.
Yeah.
I don't know what IBAN is, but the other ones are pretty telling as to who is doing
Criminal
what.
defense lawyer, Swiss bank. You could like reverse engineer just like, all right, get that guy.
Yeah, I work for the government.
he's doing
Swiss
that in
bank,
public.
wire money now. How wire money Swiss bank, please.
Well, and another thing is it's interesting, like if you do work for Lockheed Martin or something and you're helping work on like the most complicated missile system there is. Sure, some people are going to get rich off government contracts, but you got to produce something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then these people who are like, well, I advocate for trans people by doing internet searching, XYZ, these nebulous fake things where they don't really have to deliver a product or like show results, yeah, you're going to get cut off and you have to list your house. You have to leave.
And they make $350K a year.
Yeah.
And I'm on an NGO.
And my wife does the same thing.
Yeah, that's so true.
So go produce something, go make something. I don't feel bad at all. It's funny, there's been a lot of talk online, like the federal workers subreddit. They're all like, does anyone not realize how bad this is? And like, people just want to move on from the conversation when I bring it up with them. And it's like, yeah, we don't necessarily agree. An individual losing their job, of course that's sad, right? But when the bloat has gotten this big, something needs to be corrected. So.
Exactly. And that's where it's at. And that's why we're going deeper into our DOGE section. We have a whole list of things that were uncovered over the last few days. Can you give that a read or some of it?
Yeah, U.S. taxpayer dollars were going to be spent on the following items, all of which have been canceled. $10 million for Mozambique voluntary medical male circumcision. We're paying for people in Mozambique to cut their cacs.
As adults.
As adults. $9.7 million for UC Berkeley to develop a cohort of Cambodian youth with enterprise-driven skills.
I don't think we need that.
Cambodians, they got to go to UC Berkeley. $2.3 million for strengthening independent voices in Cambodia.
They like Cambodia.
Someone's got a Cambodian. Someone's like, hey, maybe we should do some more Cambodia shit.
That's so true.
And so these are exactly the types of things that I mean, where there's big dollar amounts going to like strengthen something in Cambodia. It's like, make me a missile. Make a ship. Do something the United States actually needs instead of...
Or a smash burger out of the back of a food truck.
You can do it, guys.
$40 million for gender equality and women empowerment hub.
Yeah.
It's like a place where they do that.
$14 million for improving public procurement in Serbia. So we have to go to Serbia and help their government figure out how to buy stuff from the general public.
Yeah.
So
right, last one, let's read it. $486 million.
$486 million to the Consortium for Elections and Political Process Strengthening, including $22 million for inclusive and participatory political process in Moldova, and $21 million for voter turnout in India.
We gotta get the Indians to vote in India.
Don't you guys already send money back via wires?
That's important.
Yeah. So, I mean, these type of things, we find them every day. DOGE is like, this is what I mean by like, we're winning. You find these things and you go, snip. And then people are like, no, we needed that money. And it falls on deaf ears. Everyone's like, oh my God, we were spending on that.
And then for normal people, like normal working Americans, nah, you didn't. Everyone knows that.
And then think about it, like $10 million to the Mozambique circumcision thing. That's like, what's the average tax bill? You know, $10 million. So that's like, I don't want to get this number wrong. That's like 500 families' tax bills in America are just going right to that.
Yeah.
So on a big scale, you're like, oh, that's 0.0001%. But then you can switch the math to make yourself more mad about it.
That's a good point.
And that's the math I do.
That's the math we do.
Exactly.
Here on the show. And then another $1.9 billion of HUD money was just recovered. So it was basically in like a slush fund account, unaccounted for during Biden administration, and we just got it and got it back.
Yeah.
So $1.9 billion. We caught another one of their slush funds.
Think of how many families had to pay that, you know, 1.9 B.
That's a lot. And then good news, Elon Musk's DOGE launches major audit into SEC over fraud, abuse, and mismanagement. So that's good. The SEC has been a mess for a while.
Okay.
And then on top of that, I wanted to maybe highlight someone who maybe we could look into.
Okay.
Her name's Jasmine Crockett.
Rep Jasmine Crockett of
From Texas. Yeah. Someone wrote up what she's got and how much she makes.
She now has a reported net worth of $9 million, despite being paid $174,000 a year. Jasmine Crockett owns a $2 million townhouse in Dallas, a $1.5 million loft in Austin, Texas, a $1.5 million lakefront cabin in Galveston, Texas. Her net worth grew substantially last year during the 2024 election, where she became an overnight star for the DNC. And there are now reports that she's eyeing a 2028 presidential run.
I think you should do it.
You should. You should. And it should be you versus Kamala. Best woman wins. And let's run this thing back.
And if anyone tells you you shouldn't, they probably don't want to see a black woman in a position of power like that.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
So it's racism.
It's racism, and you should push through it. And get loud. Get loud. But actually get loud once you've won the nomination.
Yeah. Throw your drink at Waffle House.
That'll be the best.
All right, next we have, this is where I think this is like the most important audit potentially, and it's the scariest one too. I almost don't want to know what's going to happen, but can you read the Zero Hedge tweet?
They said it would be great if Elon Musk could take a look inside Fort Knox just to make sure that the 4,580 tons of U.S. gold is there. Last time anyone looked was 50 years ago in 1974.
So this is scary because like it could honestly crash the whole world market, but I don't think it's there.
Yeah.
I don't think the gold is there. And you might be wondering, where did it go? I don't know. Maybe the aliens took it in the 90s. It powers their ships. They probably need that.
Okay.
Or I think someone said that the Federal Reserve may have taken it because they're using it as collateral against our national debt.
Okay.
And the Federal Reserve is a private bank. Not many people know that, but that would be pretty insane. Some people are saying it could be fake gold in there, and they want to test the gold itself. Because you know how people, like in high school, when you put water in you pour parents' vodka out and you put water back into the level?
Yeah.
They could be doing something like that. I actually had a friend who did that, and he got caught, not because the water and vodka made the vodka taste watered down.
Because it froze?
No, because he put a pencil line on the bottle. So they go, oh, we didn't taste anything, but why are you drawing pencil lines on the bottle? So that's actually how he got caught. But I do think that the gold audit could be very, very sketchy, especially if we find out that nothing's there. And apparently a lot of gold is moving around all over the world coming into New York. There's this next clip here. This woman kind of explains some of that.
Something big is going down on Wall Street that could impact all of us, and they are doing their best to bury it. In case you missed it, there is a scandal rocking the Bank of England, but this impacts everyone, American and abroad, and I'll explain why. The Bank of England is suffering from a gold shortage. Essentially, they don't have the gold they're supposed to have. Now, the lid was blown off this because the wait time to withdraw gold went from a day to 8 weeks, essentially indefinitely frozen, because they don't have the assets. So where did they go? Where is the gold? Well, supposedly, the majority of it has been shipped to New York. But the reason why doesn't make any sense. Supposedly, it's to avoid tariffs. But there never were tariffs on gold in 2016, and President Trump said he won't do any now. But that's not all. The math itself doesn't add up. 393 metric tons was sent to New York, but the Bank of England is supposed to have over 5,000 metric tons. This is less than 10% of the supposed total reserves they have. Where is the gold? This isn't musical chairs. You either have it or you don't. So Bank of England could well be lying about the amount that was sent and why it was sent.
So it's, sketchy, some gold moving around. I think there's a world where they're moving the gold to Fort Knox to pass the audit, and then they put it back to where it was after.
Okay, that's fair. I don't really have much of an opinion on it other than the fact that, do you think the people who are in control of sending the $10 million to Mozambique for male circumcisions would have all the gold? Do you think those people would have all the gold and it would all be accounted for and we didn't spend it on anything gay and stupid?
It's kind of like a random topic, and not everyone is fully versed on the gold stuff, including myself, but just do a little experiment. Does it feel like the gold is all there?
No.
I feel like there's zero gold there.
Yeah.
And that's bad, but maybe it's somewhere in between. It doesn't feel like the gold is there.
It feels like an old high school vodka bottle in the parents' liquor cabinet situation here. Doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel good. All right, let's speed
Mom
through.
and Dad haven't checked the liquor cabinet since 1974. So why wouldn't you just rob the whole thing, right?
Exactly.
You're of age now. You could have replaced it. You probably didn't.
You probably didn't. All right, let's go through fast the last couple stories. Trump's DOJ to investigate $100 billion in COVID-era unemployment fraud. That's PPP, right?
Yeah. So Hellcat LLC and Get This Bread LLC, all those Atlanta area LLCs that were created in March of 2020 or April, probably even a little later. I think we're going to start digging around and finding out what happened there.
I think so too. And there's a video here of someone who got caught up in the PPP.
So in 2020, everybody was doing the PPP. My cousin did it, my brother did it, then my best friend did it. I said, shit, sign me up. Now, I wish I never fucking did the shit. So, bruh, 4 years after the money already spent, I get a knock at the door the other day. Boom, 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 Dallas Police Department, open the door, we know you're inside.
All right.
So it's like he got caught.
He got caught. He got released. He taken to jail, released on bond with an ankle monitor and a court date in July is what this guy said. But my favorite part is at the beginning of this, he goes, all right, cousin, my brother, my best friend. And it's like, you're an investigator, like looking at this. Like, yo, you just blew it for all your
just
boys.
ratted out everyone.
Yeah.
You can't wear pants if you have an ankle monitor.
I don't know.
I would throw some khakis on.
Yeah.
It covers it.
Okay.
Doesn't look as obvious.
But yeah, point is there were obviously like we have just been looking through like the ProPublica. We've covered this on the show, obviously, looking through the ProPublica website and finding the dumb names, and it's all those unique one-of-one names like Don Terrius with an LLC, and he has one employee and it's himself. And then I'm sure if you link up his Instagram, you're looking at a Spirit flight to Miami around that time.
Where he's got money on his arm.
He's doing a
like
money
this.
spread. So we know who was doing the PPP fraud. White people too. There were a lot of scumbags who took advantage of government's malfeasance. And I'd like to see that money get clawed back. Or, criminals go to jail.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to the final page of housekeeping where I can say wherever I want. Use this opportunity to tickle the post, help us juice the algo, leave a like, leave a comment, and comment again. Then start yapping about what you want to yap about. P.O. Box needs to be full. Notifications need to be on. Old episodes need to be watched.
There you go.
That was a good one. Okay, over the weekend, on Sunday, I watched the Daytona 500.
Okay.
And I don't know. I don't watch NASCAR. Maybe this is why. But was that not a normal race? I feel like every 2 seconds they were stopping. They had commercials. They're sweeping the track. Everyone's just like driving slow.
Pace car stuff.
Whoa.
You tried to get into it and you couldn't.
I was like, all right, this is America. Trump's there. I'm sure there's some show watchers who like Daytona 500.
Yeah.
And I watched, and there was no race. I didn't understand what I was looking at. And then there's a pace car, and then they're sweeping the track. And then I just didn't get it.
Yeah, I get that.
I just fully didn't get it. And then maybe, I don't know, let me know in the comments if you're a car race watcher. And let me know. Maybe that was like a weird one where there were more crashes and a lot of breaks. And maybe it's usually not like that. But I could not watch it.
Okay.
Side note, speaking of cars, I recently joined the Fox Body family. If you know what that means. And if you don't, who cares? Don't worry about this one. Let's move on. We'll move on. All right, next, the plane crash. There's a plane crash in Canada. Comes in threes. Third one. There it is.
Yeah, and this is a wild upside-down plane, which had, I don't think nobody died. I think 8 people were injured or something.
Yep.
But something crazy had to happen. It's a snowy, icy day. You don't get like that. That's like Denzel in Flight.
Yeah.
He was ripping tall boy vodkas.
You got to assume DEI. Either a black woman flying the plane or a black woman told him, "No, just go land like this. Let's go flip it. Try flipping it." I don't know. It's DEI. You know how it is. They don't know what they're doing.
Oh,
they're not qualified.
All right. I'm going to wait for the facts, but yeah. I don't know.
I'm going to guess DEI. All right.
Well,
next.
they were flying into Calgary or Toronto rather. So someone was like, "Sir, do not redeem, sir."
Oh,
FAA.
Indian.
Yeah, could be Indian too.
Could be Indian. That's a good point. All right. Our next,
if we're being vaguely racist and having fun on the show.
It's the final page of housekeeping. You know how it goes. Okay. Our next piece, I found a meme about white racism. And we're talking about obviously everyone coming here, all the illegals, all the programs we give them, and then everyone at the same time is telling white people that they're the most racist and irredeemable. Can you read this tweet?
Yeah, it says white racism is so bad that our countries are the #1 destination for all non-whites who demand entry to our schools, access to our jobs, influence in our politics, accommodation in our laws, and total submissive silence when they rape and kill us.
So true.
Yeah.
That's what we're dealing with.
I wouldn't go to a racist country if I truly thought it was racist. So
I would definitely not. And then that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder.
Sometimes it's really obvious.
Yeah.
And you just have to say it.
It's like, if we're so bad, why is everyone coming here?
Yeah.
All right. All right, moving on. Our next clip in our final page of housekeeping, there was people from Germany, and they're probably in the government or something, talking about their laws. And listen to what's illegal in Germany now.
Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes.
The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking here face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
that sticks around forever.
Yeah.
So it's illegal to insult somebody.
Germany has fallen, and yeah, these people say it without a hint of like, yeah, I know it's crazy. This happened overnight.
Isn't this like, don't you just say, wouldn't you feel like you're about to get like trapped with that question? Like, well, it is, but the insult needs to be, they're like, yeah, insulting, illegal.
Duh. They're almost like, duh. And then this was on 60 Minutes. So this is like American, like kind of laundering this stuff, being like, look at how they do it in Germany. And the interviewer didn't really push back that much.
They were into it.
Just a little bit surprised, maybe?
Good thing Germany lost World War II. Imagine the hellhole it would be if they had won. All right, let's go on to our next thing. This is a conspiracy theory that involves Mountain Dew. Listen to what this guy says about events that coincide with Mountain Dew flavor releases.
I guess you want to call it a theory, but it lines up with everything. So even with Mountain Dew, every time, and that's the thing, not every flavor correlates with every event, but it seems to be like every time they make a big push with a certain flavor, it correlates with a certain event. So they had a flavor back in 2001 called Code Red. 3 months later, 9/11 happens. That's a Code Red. Maui Burst. That's a flavor. 3 months later, guess what's happens?
Fires in Maui.
Fires in Maui. Francis Scott Key Bridge. Okay. Why did they have a flavor that released last year called Star Spangled Splash? Now, who wrote the Star Spangled Banner? Francis Scott Key. So every time something happens, these flavors that they push out, and sometimes they're new flavors or they re-release them.
And then to conclude it, the most recent flavor is Mountain Dew Blackout.
Oh.
So that gives you a little hint at what's coming, My Patriot Supply.
Yeah. And I think in early 2020, right before Joe Biden got in, I think they released a flavor called 50 Million Illegals Here.
That was good.
That was great.
That was good.
That was my laziest, not even good work, but thank you.
Made me laugh out loud.
Appreciate you.
All right, our last clip and our last piece of housekeeping, the final page. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Oliver Cho. He recently tried to extort me. I tried to sponsor him. I offered him, I'm going to be transparent, I offered him $300 for a month to put Sponsored by Fleckus Talks on every single video.
Like a watermark.
Like a watermark. Basically, I'm helping fund this operation, and whatever you do, I'm fine with. Just put my little watermark on every video.
$300. Oliver Cho probably lives in mainland China. That's probably like a factory supervisor wages, right?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
$300, that probably pays your rent. Mm-hmm. And then he countered with $200 per video. So he's trying to extort me. But I have good news. I'm talking to a new talent, Clownvis, who is Clown Elvis. We're going to let him go.
This one goes out to the one I love. This one goes out to the one I left behind. Another prop to occupy my time. This one goes out to the one I love.
You let that play longer than I thought.
Yeah. I'll let you get your point across.
So Clownvis and I are in discussions now. It's early on, but he is open to at least shouting us out, doing some songs for us. Way more receptive, way more realistic than Oliver Cho.
All right, but he is white and American, so...
He's not trying to rip me off.
No, I was going to say price is, there's no arbitrage. You're not paying a Vietnamese rice farmer.
That's a good point.
So,
all right, well,
good luck to you, though.
We'll see what happens. That is the end of housekeeping. We're now moving on to Cringe of the Week. Guys, when it comes to gear that can handle anything, there's no better choice than Undertac. Designed for and tested by an elite forces team in Africa's harshest conditions, Undertac is made to perform when it matters most. Whether you're navigating through tough terrain or just tackling your day, their underwear, socks, and shirts keep you dry and comfortable and mission ready. Made from premium materials like Modal, which is 50% more moisture wicking than cotton, Undertac offers tactical performance that goes beyond the basics. From the ultra comfortable boxer briefs to the American-made battle weave merino socks, you'll feel the difference. And don't forget their hoodies and EDC t-shirts, which are rugged enough for anything, but also comfortable enough for everyday activities. Go to undertac.com, that's undertac.com today, and use code FLECKUS20 for 20% off site-wide. So whether you're gearing up for an adventure or just need some stuff for everyday life, Undertac has your back. And the best part, a portion of all profits goes to veteran groups fighting human trafficking. It's a full 360 win. Undertac.com is the website. FLECKUS20 is the code for 20% off. Thank you to Undertac for sponsoring. Now let's get into Cringe. All right, our first story of Cringe of the week. Good news for all you fashion people. New Yorkers are rushing to buy Kendrick Lamar's $1,200 Super Bowl flare jeans, or just try them on in Celine stores.
Wow. $1,200 to look gay.
Yeah, $1,200 for 90s woman jeans.
Fascinating.
And then I saw a thing that said that he's a woman size 29.
Yeah, I heard they were women's jeans that he was wearing for the Super Bowl.
So it's very subversive, actually.
Okay.
And let's go to our next story. This is my favorite piece of cringe. There's like a Canadian tough guy. That's how I would describe him.
Yellowstone, John Dutton type.
Yellowstone,
Calgary.
Yeah, I'm a Canadian cowboy.
Here in Banff, we do things differently.
And he is pushing back against Trump, and listen to what he says.
Well, howdy. You know, every day I get questioned as to what my thoughts are on Canada becoming the 51st state of the United States of America. My kin were here before this country got started, and every fucking generation they've been here, they gave their blood, sweat, and fucking tears so that the generations coming after them could have a better place than they had. And now, because of a bunch of inept and corrupt politicians, I got the fucking arrogance of the U.S. president telling me that there's a fucking monetary value to my sovereignty, and I will gladly give my fucking life defending every sacrifice, every dream, and every fucking hope that my family had, everything that they did so that I could be here. Mind your own fucking business, Donald. Square up your own country and leave mine the fuck alone.
Yeah. Now let's get back to bringing in millions of people from India.
How many do you think we could stuff in Toronto?
And he's just doing, he has the hat down low. You can barely see his eyes. He's really tough. And he's mad now, but was he mad when the truckers got debanked and arrested? Was he mad when COVID had all that overreach? Was he mad when the free speech laws got removed? Was he mad when they doubled the taxes over a short amount of time over the last few years?
Yep.
Didn't hear him. But now Donald Trump, right on, brother.
Yeah, it's interesting because we all saw that Canada-America hockey game over the weekend, and Canadians are booing Americans during the national anthem, which is fine, whatever. I don't care. And then we won. America won. But it's interesting because the leftist Canadians, they hate Trump. And then now the nationalist Canadians, they don't like Trump either because he's threatening tariffs. He's jokingly trying to make Canada the 51st state, which I don't want. I think it's more of a troll. I don't want it. Keep all the people you imported up there. I don't need it. How would that work with elections and electorally and stuff? But now those sides are united against Trump. But when it comes to like importing third worlders with illegal papers and a fake college transcript from India, which has been happening like crazy, they're against each other. And so they can't come to common terms with that, but they can when it comes to hating Trump and making a Yellowstone meme social media post, right, brother?
Exactly. All right, moving on. Our next clip is a high school student filming themselves while one of their teachers crashes out in an anti-Trump way.
And the only thing that bothers me more than him is all the Republican senators and congressmen who just keep going along with it. It's not because they believe in it. You gotta know they don't believe in it. They don't believe in any of it. They're just afraid that he's gonna talk smack about them on Truth Social, and then they're gonna lose their job in an election. So they're just doing whatever he says, which is the worst possible thing, because that's cult and dictatorship. Jesus Christ, you don't see that? I'm not kidding. When I say wipe that smile off, I don't care if that's a detention. I just wrote you a referral mentally. You're going to detention for bringing up politics in class. You want to go for 2?
Control yourself, man. Yo.
Excuse me? Excuse me? After all I put up with you for the last 2 years and talked you up and stood your back when they ripped you, you what? You
goes on like that for a while.
So the school's trying to keep this quiet and separate themselves from the teacher. It was Monsignor Farrell High School in Staten Island. I'm a St. Anthony's guy. That was one of our rivals. Go Friars. So it was Monsignor Farrell.
Okay. All right.
But
sounds local. That beef sounds local.
It's very local. We never lost to Monsignor Farrell in 4 years. I was there.
Okay.
But I think their bigger picture, we have an opportunity here now that we're in Trump's America to kind of weed out every retard teacher from Catholic and Christian schools. You know what I mean? Let's send them back to public schools. I think you need to either be apolitical or, which is like neutral, truly neutral, or MAGA.
Yeah.
So if there's like a teacher who's listening to NPR on the way to school, reported. Pride flag on the wall, reported. Milk in your coffee, reported. Calling your wife your partner, reported.
Okay. All right.
There's some things we can do. And then that teacher did end up resigning, which is good.
Which is code for they asked him to. They wanted him out. And that's the thing with the resistance and the anti-Trump people. They obviously still exist, but the whole like sticking your neck out and yelling at a kid, trying to intimidate a kid, it's like, why'd you do that? 4 years is inevitable. He's already elected. So the people can still have little breakdowns, even though they're not being effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's up to you to not have that. Like if you're having this freak out, then obviously you've lost all control and you shouldn't be in an authority role, right? So I just think it's so fascinating. Like, you made it through 2016, you made it through the election, and then now you freak out and lose your job.
Yeah.
You should have given up. You should have let it been defeated. You know what I mean?
And he lost his job, so he lost his livelihood. And it was because of all the hate he had in his heart for Trump. And he literally let it ruin his life. And it's not because of anything Trump did, it's because of his perception of Trump.
Yeah.
So it wasn't reality, it was his perception of reality that led to this. And there's a lesson there.
There is a lesson in there.
The reality is reality. That's the truth. But everyone has a different perception of reality, and you want to make sure that your perception of reality is as close to reality as possible. Otherwise, you get blindsided and you can lose stuff you worked hard to get.
Yeah, because his same like mismatch on the perception versus reality also led him to misjudge how that freak out would be handled by the school. Like, the teachers would be like, I get it. Trump's a jerk. We watch CNN too.
But that would be in his world.
I know. That's what he thought. And then in reality, it's like, what the fuck are you yelling at a kid for,
You yelled
Mike?
at a kid? You yelled Jesus Christ in a Catholic school?
Everyone's got a cell phone, Mike. You didn't think someone was going to record that? So, yeah, the same mismatch of his perception versus reality caused him to miscalculate.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you got to be settled in reality. And then if you do act delusional, make sure it's fun.
Yeah. You might as well be schizophrenic or something.
Yeah. All right, our last clip of Cringe. This is one of my favorites, and it's kind of on the same topic of speaking on lessons and, manhood in general. Listen to what this guy says about men in general.
Weak men run to the bathroom every 15, 20 minutes. They get a little nervous. They got to go take a crap. They got to go take a piss. And when you walk into a public restroom, and you got to tell you, this is the most vulnerable position a man is ever going to be in. Taking a crap. Anyone can open the door, stab you in the neck with a knife. Think about that for a moment. Next time you go out there and start taking craps in public restrooms.
I did not think of that.
I don't think anyone's ever thought of that.
Rapboy and I were talking about this before. I think we reached the end of content. Like, I think everyone has said everything, and then this is one of the last points left.
Yeah, we've talked about it all. We've discussed everything, and then now, finally, we've reached the point where if you're taking a crap in public, you're going to get knifed in the neck by somebody. So that's the lesson there.
Maybe a migrant.
Yeah, probably. A trans migrant. Maybe he's onto something, but he just kind of vaguely said, you're taking a crap and you're scared. But yeah, I think we're at the end of content. We're at the end.
And I think that advice actually is good advice if you live in the UK.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, hey, you do not want to be out in public. Where are you most vulnerable? Go to the bathroom. Some Muslim's going to come in and fucking stab you in the neck. You can't go to the bathroom anymore.
All right, that's fair.
So I take it back. That was good advice.
I got to go and review his other pieces of advice and see how far away his perception is from reality.
That's a good idea.
I want to research.
Report
I think this guy
back.
I think he's got more to offer us.
Me too. All right, well, that's the end of Cringe of the Week. We're now moving on to Urban Decay. All right, our first story of urban decay is a dark one, and it's kind of a merging of the worlds. We always talk about illegal immigrants, we always talk about trans people. Well, now we have a trans illegal immigrant who ring a child.
Yeah, a migrant transgender woman wanted by federal immigration officials allegedly stalked and raped a boy in Manhattan this week. Nicole Suarez allegedly followed the 14-year-old into the bathroom of a bodega across the street from Thomas Jefferson Park in East Harlem.
Horrible story.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, just like for the words we use, you know how illegal immigrants are asylum seekers?
Mm-hmm.
Trans people could be considered asylum seekers too, but like a mental asylum.
Yeah.
One is for asylum in a country, one is a crazy house. This one, both.
Yeah, and then I think this person had an ICE detainer on. So it was another one of those things that the city ignored and then led to a very traumatic and crazy crime. I saw someone, and then here's the face of this guy, Nicole, little Michael Jackson type. I saw someone post a tweet. They said, you've been raped by a trans illegal. And I wouldn't say that. That's offensive. That's tough. But it was a good bit. It's a horrible situation.
It's insensitive, but
it's bad.
It is
It's true.
sound as a
It's
bit.
true. I can't. So, yeah, I mean, we don't even want to cover shit like this. It already happened. There's not really lessons to learn.
Well, there's some lessons.
But it is everything we've talked about. Illegals and then trans, and it's just a horrible confluence of events. ICE detainer request ignored. And, you know, an American's a victim, right?
I don't trust illegals.
I don't trust trans
I
people.
don't trust trans.
And then
an illegal trans person's probably, sprinting at you.
Yeah, and then to do it in a bathroom, too, when you're part of that community who's always arguing about bathrooms,
That's
just seems like you were so one-track minded that nothing else mattered.
Couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And then there's another clip that I thought summed up this situation very well. What's the guy's name who does the
Chris
stings?
Hansen.
Chris Hansen. So Chris Hansen always, grabs pedos and stages situations and sting operations and catches them. Listen to what he says about illegals.
We have seen an increase in illegal immigrants being caught in our stings across the country. And it seems today that we can't do a sting, whether we're in the South or the Midwest or West Coast or East Coast, without catching somebody who's in this country illegally.
So that's a lot of who we're catching.
Someone who broke the laws of this country, continues to break the laws of this country, and it's not surprising. There's 50 million here, right?
Yeah, so they're caught at every level. We get them with ICE, we get them with the fraud and the Social Security fraud, and then they're also pedophiles as well.
Crazy.
All right, our last clip of our little immigration section in Urban. This woman confronted ICE agents as they're getting guys to be deported from India, and listen to what she says.
This is in North Carolina.
Do y'all have a signed order from the judge that I can see? Signed order from the judge in your pocket? Signed order from a judge? Signed order from a judge? Signed order from a judge right there? Signed order from a judge for this? This is illegal? Signed order from a judge? No signed order from a judge. All right, this is going to get reported.
Who are you standing up for?
The criminals?
The criminals from India, and then like they said, they're deporting like the highest level of criminals first. They're going after the people who committed crimes in America first. And that's who you're gonna you're on their side as opposed to ICE's side?
Signed order from a judge? Yeah, we actually don't have to answer to any random lady who's walking her dog in the neighborhood. We're doing legal law enforcement activities, and I love the ignoring her.
Yeah.
I love it.
Walk right by.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. All right, our next clip is a quick clip. I just saw it on social media. It might have happened a few days ago, but it's just something I wanted to share with you guys.
I had 8 abortions in total.
We listen, but we don't judge.
I had 2 abortions this year. We
listen, but we don't judge.
It's decay.
We listen, and God will judge.
Yeah.
That was pretty rough. Do you think when it comes to, say you get 8 abortions, do you think that curses your bloodline?
I think you get haunted or something. When the numbers get that high, I think there's a definite haunting, cursed, something.
I think that like you might,
and I don't usually believe in that type of stuff.
I was gonna say,
so yes, when they get that high, yes.
There's like a generational curse you put on your bloodline when you do stuff like that.
And then 8, that's just using abortion as a contraceptive. Like it's not safe, rare, and whatever that they try to advertise it as. That's, again, one of those things where the reality doesn't match the marketing materials for it.
All right, and then our last piece before we move on to our next part of Urban, I saw a funny name. Someone sent this to me on Twitter. Philly Cheese Gray.
Philly Cheese Steak Grays Jr.
Oh, Philly Cheese Steak.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize I thought it was just Philly Cheese was the joke. Philly Cheese Steak Gray Jr. That might be fake.
I don't know what's real or what's not anymore, but we'll report on it.
We'll report on it. So add that to the funny name section. All right, we're getting into our claims of anti-Semitism section. This first guy tried to order an Uber Black with 5 people. And you guys know how Uber is very strict with this. So he's trying to put 5 people into 4 seats, and then look how the interaction plays out.
Douglas J. Davis falsely accused an Uber driver of anti-Semitism because his family was too big for the car.
I heard you say under your breath they look Jewish.
What?
4 times Grammy Award winner booked an Uber Black car for 4 instead of an SUV for 5 without child seats. And when the driver refused to transport them for safety reasons, the man immediately started playing victim.
I'm being
Please
harassed.
explain. You know what happened to CEO?
You're racially profiling us.
You're saying a racial profile you? You're 5 people, you book a black car,
Go inside.
and you tell the high racial
You're threatening me. You're threatening me.
No, don't stay.
You're threatening me. I feel threatened.
For what?
You are threatening my children.
Say your children.
You are threatening my
You
children.
said that you're lawyer.
I
Hey,
am.
Stay far from me.
You got out of the car. You are the
Stay
aggressor.
far.
That's how the
I'm
law
closing
works.
the door.
You're the aggressor. You got out and chased me.
I'll make sure that
You do that. Big shot. Let's see how far
big
that
shot.
gets you.
5 people.
Let's see
over
how
black.
far it gets you.
Let's be honest.
You're the aggressor.
So it goes on for a while, but it starts with, I heard you say that we're Jewish, and then it goes from that to, you got out of the car and you chased me. You're
the
threatening
aggressor.
me.
You're anti-Semitic. And so what's the main issue here? This type of guy can't ever lose an argument?
Well,
or step down?
If he
be like,
does,
you're right. I do have 5. We were trying to sneak a kid. One's a kid.
We're trying to save money.
Yeah. We were trying to sneak a kid in, and then to go to this, it's crazy because I don't have anything. I can't go to anything.
Yeah.
I can't make up something. You said fuck white people? You know?
Like he's wrong, and instead of being wrong, the other guy must hate Jews.
Yeah. You can't lose an argument ever. It's never about, and it's the simplest argument ever. There's a 4-person max here. You have 5. Clearly, you got to go for an XL.
It's not like the Uber was like, I'm not driving you guys, you people. Like, what do you mean by that?
What kind of nose is that? What are you people doing?
Yeah, it was just purely logistics. There's like a rule, 4 people only, and you had 5.
And this is the exact same thing as the Indian guy in that Canadian DMV who's like, you are doing a racism.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so you can't ever be told no. You can't ever lose an argument. You can't ever be put in your place by someone who you don't think should be putting you in your place, right?
That's exactly what it is.
It's just a weird cop-out no matter what the race is, and you should be ashamed if you're doing stuff like this, you know?
It's very embarrassing. It's very weak, and it's very victim-based behavior. And I was wondering, what groups act like this?
Yeah.
Like transgenders, maybe?
Trans is a big one. It's because I look like a guy.
Yeah, you hate me because I'm trans, which is ironic, too, because I believe Jewish people invented transgenderism.
Oh.
So it's ironic that they go back to the same tactics. We have another clip with a similar example. They tried to set up a sting anti-Semitic thing in a restaurant, and it kind of backfired because the people didn't end up being anti-Semitic.
Tuesday afternoon and Cairo Takeaway Cafe is buzzing when a man wearing a Star of David cap walks in and orders a hibiscus tea. He moves to the back of the cafe wearing glasses with a camera. He turns them on and he leaves, following the female staff member who served him. They're at the door when the man in the cap speaks up. The alleged conversation relayed to the cafe's chef.
Am I upsetting you being here? And she said, no, I'm just asking you, what do you want? He says, because I'm Jewish.
Seconds later, a senior journalist from the Daily Telegraph enters with her photographer and allegedly asks the same female server, "Have you got a problem with the man with the white cap?" She says, "Why would I have a problem?" Eventually they leave, the cafe worker not far behind, and she's now the one with the camera.
That is out and out intimidation. Who comes into a restaurant and asks me a question about this gentleman who I don't even know?
Do you think it's not intimidation that you found it appalling that he came into the shop?
The guy with the hat. The guy with the hat and the giant recording glasses, and he just wanted a hibiscus tea.
And nothing happened. He goes, "No, do you have a problem with me?" No.
No, nothing at all.
So it's like anti-Semitism is so prevalent that they need to set up a fake scenario with the hidden cameras, and it still didn't work.
They're doing stings on like, and what did they say the restaurant was called? Taste of Cairo or something?
Yeah.
So it's like an Egyptian, like Middle Eastern type, and they're just hoping, they're fishing for a racist incident wearing the biggest star hat you got.
"Oh, do you hate him because he's Jewish?" It's like, "No, I hate him because you set up a sting operation and tried to frame me for being anti-Semitic with a lying journalist, hidden cameras, and a photographer.
A cameraman, the hat,
and then you didn't get what you wanted, and then you still try to paint me as anti-Semitic." I think that maybe is a little bit worse.
This really makes a group look bad. You know,
Yeah.
Really, like when you're being like, "Come on, was it because of this? Was it because of this?" Like the Uber, it's all like really bad. And then we know what you want. We know what you want. You want to be like, see how bad it is? I instigated something and it's horrible.
That's so true.
It's pathetic.
We have one last piece here that kind of sums it up as well. Do you want to give that a read?
Well, I haven't read it yet, but I'll give it a read, and hopefully you don't put my neck out on the line. We live in an age when Jews are the wealthiest, safest, and most culturally/politically overrepresented group in the West, but claim they are the most victimized, and we owe them mass civilizational suicide because of an event that it is illegal for us to question or investigate.
Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic, though, where like we're constantly told that this group is the most oppressed and everyone's out to get them, but then all the evidence we see and all the things that we have as proof are like made up or exaggerated or who knows, you know? It's an interesting dynamic. And I think that we're in the time where it's just like, nah. In the same way we like dismiss the leftists and the people who are standing up for the IRS and we go, we're not doing it. I think it's time for that.
Yeah, I totally agree with the dismissing it. And didn't we show the one where the Orthodox Jewish family was trashing a beach and someone was filming it?
Like, oh, do you hate us?
You hate Jews or whatever? Yeah. It's like, how is that the leap? And it shows like a certain frantic type of person who gets caught doing something bad and then thinks that they can reverse it onto you, which is a crazy thing to assume.
Just have some accountability and go, I did try. There was a kid. I tried to sneak him in the Uber. Or, whatever. I'll order another Uber. I get it. And then you don't tip.
Yeah.
You know, that'll be the reason you don't tip.
All right.
Well, that's the end of Urban Decay. We're now moving on to Uplifting Gold. All right, our first clip of Uplifting Gold. Someone did a bit on someone as they're proposing.
Excuse me, do you know how to get Walmart? From here, yeah. I'm from the UK, I don't know how. Wrong fucking time, wrong time. Wrong time.
So someone's proposing, he said, "Do you want to get to Walmart?" That's pretty good. That's a high-level bit.
Yeah.
It did ruin someone's proposal. They'll probably remember it forever.
I can't endorse that kind of bit.
Me neither, but now that it happened and that's what it looked like, we can show it.
It is funny.
But don't go do that.
Yeah,
but if it's done, send it. It's like with the Jackass. It's like, don't send us anything, blah, 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 or ridiculousness. Don't send us any clips. We're not going to open them.
Yeah.
But if they do and we have them already, we might use them on the show.
Okay.
Okay, next we have Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle. He's like a race car driver now.
And Big Fat Liar.
And Big Fat Liar. That's a good point.
One of his cinematic masterpieces.
He's a race car driver now, and he finished 11th in a race. And listen to the interview.
We finished 11th. I couldn't ask for anything better. I think this truck was so fast. I mean, like we were in the second pack. I passed all the second pack, had a half a straightaway to the front pack, and by myself caught them. So I feel like I can't wait for Talladega. You know what I mean? Because this truck's good.
Isn't that nice?
I like it. He's got hobbies. He moved on. He's a child star who became, a different thing. And
he's married. He has a family now, and he didn't get stuck into like being a burnt out child star who does drugs. He has like a completely new hobby and career, and he's pretty good at it. He's like racing on the track in front of the people.
Malcolm in the Middle is one of my all-time favorite shows too.
Yeah. So very
Did you
successful.
watch that when you were young?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite shit.
Very good, very successful guy, and it's good to see him reinvent himself in not like a gay way.
Yeah.
He's not trying to like cling on or do like, oh, I'm Malcolm in the Middle still.
Yeah, here's me in the Kendrick Lamar pants. Yeah. He's
doing whatever he wants, and he's talented. So happy to see that. There was a flyover at Daytona over the weekend. There it is in the background. It's no big deal. And Trump took the beast out on the track too. And then leftists were saying this cost $25,000 in jet fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you guys sent millions to Cambodia for circumcision. You have $400 million for a women's empowerment hub. $25K for the thing.
It doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit the same. And they're going to do that a lot because Trump will do some cool things that are going to cost some money. But when the office of the president is, doing cool shit, it's actually good for morale for the country.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the people at Daytona 500 loved it. And it doesn't have the same barb anymore. When I can find something 25 times that going to circumcisions in West Africa. Yeah. I don't think so, buddy.
And you guys already established that you don't care about wasting taxpayer dollars. That's what you've been doing the whole time. And now you care, and the first thing you want to stop is Trump's flyover on the way to Daytona.
They're fiscal conservatives now. They were lighting money on fire to Africa. And not only they were about to. All those things that DOGE was listing, it's like we caught this and canceled it before it could happen.
Yeah.
So
they were going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
All right, next. This was like a thing posted on TikTok, but it had music behind it. But it's just a girl, and it says, retiring the septum ring so people stop assuming I'm liberal. That's very nice. So she's taking it off and puts the MAGA hat on. That's what we like to see. It's important.
Yeah, you know what? And certain things are worth fighting for. I've made the meme that I fought for Birkenstocks. Those people, the leftists, they took a good shoe. That's a German shoe. Leather, cork, made up of strong materials, 100 years old. Well, we're just going to give it to leftists? The septum ring the leftists took.
Yeah, you guys can have it.
There are some certain handmade quality products out there that I'm not willing to give up. And I know Fleckus disagrees with me on that, but his feet are too big to fit in Birkenstocks.
Well, actually, Birkenstocks could hold my feet better than most stuff.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm arguing.
It's all open.
That's what I'm arguing.
So that's how fair my position is. Even though it's one of the shoes that really could fit me, I just think they're hippie shoes because the leftists took it.
I know.
So And I'm willing to let them have it.
Okay.
All right, next, an old guy playing horse in the backyard. This is Americana.
Show you how to do that. Let me show y'all the little fadeaway. Little Adrian Dantley baseline fade.
You got a mic?
Yeah?
He wants to get mic'd up.
All right, you got to go behind me. Old school skyhook on.
Here we go. Yep, okay. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah. Too easy.
Y'all think this is hard, don't you? Piece of cake. About 2 degrees of slope right there.
This dude thinks he's a scientist. Maybe he is.
It was 2. I figured it was 2.
Getting this miss. I
got
know
to figure
you
the 2 degrees in.
Yeah, I knew that. Let's see that jump shot. Everybody thinks
little
it's
sit
awesome.
shot. That's what it's going to be.
Okay.
Love to see it. Old guy who knows all the spots on the court, playing horse forever, still got it.
Yeah. Certain type of guy. When you start pulling out, the dads love hook shots.
Yeah.
For some reason.
That never got transferred over to the next generation.
Absolutely.
All right, our last clip for the whole show. This kid has an issue with his motocross bike during a race, and mom comes to save the day.
Gonna knock him off the bike. Look, he's like, Mom's here, it'll start now. Come on, Kev.
Oh my God! No way!
That's pretty good. Mom knows how to motocross.
Yeah, well, you know, I think this is supposed to be some sort of girl power thing, but like the mom does this where she leans the bike forward, putting some sort of fluid somewhere where it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Either gas in a line or an oil
Mom
somewhere.
grew up with motocross bikes.
No, mom knows that motocross bike specifically. very
Yeah,
well.
I think she grew up with motocross bikes and
She
had
could've.
had a bunch of brothers probably.
But I'm saying you can't blame the guy. He didn't know the technique of lean it forward and let the...
She knows how to work a motocross bike.
That's not all. I'm saying that's a specific issue for that kid's bike.
Yeah, for motocross bikes.
You lost it.
She's flipping the clutch. She's doing stuff. She's giving acceleration.
I'm saying that to start a motocross bike, normally people don't have to lean it forward at a 45-degree angle.
But if your
So that's a
motocross
specific
bike
problem
isn't
to that
starting,
bike.
or I think bikes in general, I think she knows how to work I think she knows how to work dirt bikes.
I'm done. With you.
All right. Another Fleckus Talks in the books. Thank you guys for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. FleckusTalks.com for a 30-minute bonus land dropping right now.
No shout-outs?
No shout-outs. Good point. We are going to do them on Friday, and there's a lot to get to. But shout-outs stole from my soul too much.
I got you.
And we have to take a break, but we're going to do them on Friday. And if we owe you a shout-out, we will get to you on Friday. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you on Friday.
Wow, pregnant, smoking, and pajama pants? You're like a fucking triple fuck up. Steak is for fucking taxpayers.